Now, we are thrilled to have Nancy, who has been a great friend to the Climate Registry throughout the years. She has had quite the career as well. Previous to her recent appointment at the city, Nancy was Chief Sustainability Officer for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, a member of the Climate Registry, and prior to that, Nancy led the White House Council on Environmental Quality for half a decade during the Obama administration, a position for which she was unanimously confirmed for by the United States Senate. And we know that that doesn't often happen. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Los Angeles Deputy Mayor Nancy Sutley. Nancy? There you go. Would you like to join me there?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thanks for being here in Mayor Bass's absence. Nancy, we're so glad to have you. And can you start off by telling us a little bit about Mayor Bass's vision for addressing climate change for the city of Los Angeles and what your office is hoping to accomplish?
Great. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. And the mayor sends her regards and her regrets. It's been a busy time here, her first about 150 days as mayor. And those of you from Los Angeles will know that the priority has really been around addressing housing and homelessness, the crisis, the humanitarian crisis that the city faces, as many cities around the country. So it's taken up a lot of the mayor's time. It's also budget season in City Hall, so working with the city council to ensure that the mayor's priorities are reflected in the city's budget. So she sends her regrets, but I'm just very glad to be here. And as you mentioned, the city of Los Angeles and LADWP have been involved with the Climate Registry really from the beginning. I think recognizing over a number of mayors the importance of communicating to the public where we are with respect to climate change. And so the mayor, in her inauguration speech and in her first State of the City, she sort of listed some of the challenges that Los Angeles is facing, homelessness and housing being one of them, and probably the one that driving the most immediate response. Public safety is always a concern in all big cities, and one that has to be a priority here in Los Angeles as well. And it didn't take her too long to get to the climate crisis, because she believes, as I do, that we are already feeling the effects of the climate crisis here in Los Angeles. We're in May, and it's usually pretty sunny in Southern California, but we are in May gray, one of our seasons. But we just sort of come out of, or maybe not yet, one of the wettest winters on record snowfall in the Sierra Nevada. Really great for our water supply, but this year follows 3 of the driest years on record, when Los Angeles was facing, significant cutbacks in the amount of water it could bring to its residents, and really on the one of our major sources of water, the State Water Project. We were limited to what they called health and safety water. So we are feeling the effects of the climate crisis here, and the mayor recognizes that. So the good news is that the mayor comes in after now 2 successive mayors have said this is an area where the city needs to focus on. And Mayor Garcetti in 2015 launched the Sustainable City Plan, and in 2019 the LA's Green New Deal. And that really provides us with a roadmap. And that plan is really built around getting to net zero carbon by 2050, and around what's in the plan as the 5 zeros. So a net zero power, zero carbon power grid, zero carbon transportation, zero carbon buildings, zero wasted water, and zero waste. And so these are goals that Mayor Bass has embraced, and probably most prominently, the goals around the LA Department of Water and Power, which is the nation's largest municipally owned utility and supplies electricity and water to the city of Los Angeles, and is generates, transmits, and distributes electric power to the city, and so that getting to a zero carbon grid means we are going to get there by 2035, and that really enables the ability to get to zero carbon transportation and zero carbon buildings through electrification of transportation and decarbonization of our buildings. So the mayor has embraced those goals, but also wants to emphasize in a city like this how important it is to center that plan and those strategies around community, and particularly in addressing environmental injustices that have plagued this city, as they have many others, and also to look at ensuring that the benefits of this transition, of these investments, will come to Los Angeles in the form of jobs, in the form of business and economic opportunity, particularly for those who've been traditionally left behind. So that is our task going forward, to make sure that all of that happens, and that we do it in a way that builds on the mayor's values around collaboration and accountability and transparency.
Great, that's wonderful to hear that very ambitious agenda and the focus on climate justice and economic justice for all. And so are there some specific strategies that your office is intending to roll out to be able to implement that plan?
Sure, like I said, we were fortunate to have a roadmap left for us by Mayor Garcetti. So at LADWP, they are working on their implementation plan following the LA 100, which was a landmark study that really analyzed the LA's grid really down to the individual building level to look at what it would take to get to 100% clean energy. And we worked with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, part of the Department of Energy, to really do this very in-depth technical analysis. And what it said was it's feasible to get to 100% clean energy. And oh, by the way, it's feasible to do it by 2035. So that's now city policy. So that's about adding a lot more renewable energy, both at sort of utility scale and distributed energy, solar and others, really investing in the grid itself to make sure that it can continue to perform reliably, and with resilience. And importantly, I think in terms of remembering that this is, at the end of the day, this is all about people. LADWP is now doing a follow-on study called the LA 100 Equity Strategy. So really looking at the sort of distributional aspects of the investments that will be made, making sure that there is real community engagement and that the community can help design this plan and really make it one that the whole city can embrace, and looking around at issues of affordability and other things that will help make this plan real. The second big piece is around dealing with both with our transportation-related emissions, and primarily, and not exclusively, around the Port of Los Angeles. So the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, largest port complex in the US, also a very large source of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as the smog that still plagues Los Angeles. And so really trying to make sure that the ports and the Port of LA has the tools to get to the net zero emissions goals for not only for their operations, but thinking about the whole goods movement chain. And then when it comes to water, really looking at the opportunities to capture more stormwater, so to take advantage in a year like this when there's a little more water than we know what to do with, and save it for a not rainy day. And then looking at how we reuse and recycle water, how we sort of lead with a water conservation strategy water conservation first strategy that's really helped the city survive, grow, and flourish even in tough drought times. So a lot of stuff going on, opportunities to try to capture federal funding now with the bipartisan infrastructure law and the IRA, looking for those opportunities to make sure that we are taking advantage of all of those federal dollars that are available.
Wonderful, and that has been a big topic at the Climate Leadership Conference in the past few days. And as a Climate Leadership Conference award winner and veteran of many conferences, you know that we have many sustainability professionals in the audience today from the private sector. And one of the recurring themes of this decade is the urgency to harness the power of public-private partnerships. And so how is the city looking to collaborate with the private sector to achieve a net zero future?
Yeah, well, for sure we can't do this alone, and we really need everyone involved. And I think whether it's formally as the kind of public-private partnership model. So, for example, LAX, if you came through LAX, I won't say anything else, but you might have noticed there's a lot of construction activity going on there. So they're doing a very large modernization program, and that is done as a design, build, operate, and maintain. So a consortium, a private sector consortium is doing that whole project on behalf of the airport. So that's a kind of a more formal, I guess, sort of P3 sort of model, and it's something that the Department of Water and Power uses as well. I mean, the Department of Water and Power spends $1 billion a year on goods and services, real opportunities for businesses, particularly around sustainability to help the department get to its sustainability goals. And I know as part of this conference, you are going to visit the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator tomorrow.
Yes.
And so I won't try to steal their thunder other than to say that was actually a project started by the city of Los Angeles more than a decade ago, recognizing that LA is unusual, but not unique in terms of how much of infrastructure is in public ownership. And as we try to make that infrastructure more sustainable, we're going to be spending literally billions of dollars, and we want some of those billions of dollars goes to companies that are grown here in Los Angeles, and for jobs right here in Los Angeles. And so the LA Clean Tech Incubator was started as a weird idea about hey, why don't we do this? I worked on it. I was in the mayor's office before, many years ago, and we sat around the table one day throwing out ideas about how to grow green jobs in the green economy. And the Clean Tech Incubator was sort of nurtured and born out of some of those ideas around creating a place, taking advantage of the incredible resources here in LA. The universities in Los Angeles graduate more engineering students than anywhere else in the country. There's an immense amount of talent here in private universities, in the UC system, and the Cal States, and the community colleges, not to mention lots of other entrepreneurs in small businesses who want to flourish and succeed. And so the LA Clean Tech Incubator is now its own nonprofit and really doing great things and helping to connect the community to the clean energy economy.
Yeah, so, and I'll add a encouragement for people to go on that tour tomorrow. It's an amazing space, and it's something that would be easy to model in any city. It really is a great opportunity and a project to bring to city to drive that public-private partnership and the innovation, and a really powerful and positive contributor to the community.
Well, and you'll be joining a very distinguished set of people who have visited, including Vice President Harris was there about 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Visiting the Clean Tech Incubator. President Biden was there as Vice President. So it's a great facility, and the building is owned by the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, definitely. So with this time is flying by. I could talk to you for hours, and as you know, but I do want to just bring up the fact that you have worked in so many different scales of government, and you've attended the UN COP conference with our delegation, our US subnational delegation. You've worked at the federal level, you've worked at the city level, you've worked at agencies. You have this very rich perspective about environmental and climate leadership across the board. And so my question is for you is, what gives you hope that we are going to be able to achieve this net zero sustainable future that we are all working so hard to do?
Well, we'll start, I mean, a full room like this, right?
Yeah.
And all of you
Like that.
are working towards this. It's really fantastic to see you all hanging out on a nice Thursday afternoon, Thursday, right? Nice Thursday afternoon in a windowless ballroom in downtown Los Angeles. But yeah, I think, I mean, when I talk to young people about, career in sustainability, one of the things that I always try to remark on is that there are so many ways that anybody can contribute to making our world more sustainable. If you're an engineer, if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're an organizer, anything that you can do, there's a way to help contribute. So, like I said, I think sometimes it's easy to forget that this is all about people, and this is real people power, people committed to moving the agenda forward. And I think also, Los Angeles is really a testament that you can grow the economy and clean the environment at the same time. It wasn't that long ago when, 300 days a year, the smog levels would reach unhealthy levels, and because of the combination of technology and regulation and activism and the law and policy and people, we've cut those down to a handful of days that we reach unhealthful levels of smog. Still too many. And the economic growth over those decades in Southern California, this is California, if it was a country, would be the 4th or 5th largest economy in the world. LA County would be the 16th largest economy in the world. So I think LA is proof positive that you can grow the economy and clean our environment at the same time. So I think you all being here and all of you, welcome to Los Angeles. This is sort of the place where it's all happening.
So on the ground with people, Nancy, we do have a group of high school students here from a sustainability club here.
Awesome.
From the Bay Area. So they're attending all the sessions and listening, and I hope understanding that we are working very hard, but we are also counting on them. And
yeah, well, hopefully we'll leave things a little bit better. I'm closer to the end of my career than the beginning of it, so no pressure on all of you. But hopefully we can get some good stuff done, so you can pick up the ball and run with it.
Well, we are very excited to hear about Mayor Karen Bass's agenda, and we know you working alongside of her that you will be getting it done, and we thank you for spending the time telling us about the vision and how it's going to be implemented. Really appreciate you coming and stopping by today, Nancy.
Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you, the Climate Registry, the Climate Leadership Conference. Like I said, it's really very gratifying to see this room full, and you all, I know, I was remarking to Amy before we started, the energy level was really great to see, and the excitement, and so it's very exciting and fun to be here, so thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Everybody, please.